Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hector the Gatekeeper.
Hello, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow, Elven Sorceress.
Hey guys, I'm Alex, and tonight I'll be playing Rugar Firehide.
But only for tonight. Just for tonight, not before or after, only for
I will
tonight.
be in town next week. That'd be a perfect time to do Christmas episode stuff. It's going to be July soon, you know.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we affectionately call Parker against his will. Michael Parker, playing the druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We return once again with a tale of epic fantasy, and boy, things are getting a little sticky here in the Everspring Mountains. Hector just popped off and just murked maybe the only person that knew how to stop rock joint, and boy, was that fun.
No.
I don't know. I missed the whole thing. I was the statue the entire time.
Yeah, Rugar was rock hard for the entire adventure, but it's fine. He got flaccid again thanks to Rilla, so we can all be thankful for that.
No, we
and
can't.
I'm just over here getting stoned.
Yeah. Man, rock puns are the best. So
I was just gonna say once I was bold, but now I am bolder.
That's terrible.
Oh my god.
Leave that one in.
That one's going on the mantle. Right? You guys? Right? Nailed it.
I quit. That's it. I'm good.
God.
I think you guys are taking my sense of humor for granted, and I just won't have that.
Okay, I'm seriously done with this conversation. But it's better than our last deviation about the gargoyles podcast.
Ladies, he's single, if you're interested. Please.
Don't be spreading my business out there here on our Gargoyles fancast / Dungeons and Dragons podcast, all right? Am I a Goliath looking for my Demona? Maybe. Who's to say? Who's to say? Anyway, when last we left our fucking heroes, Hector, Rilla, Zurabak, and Rugar Firehide were in a mine shaft number 10, doing battle with a Medusa. Hector, in a blind rage, finished off this crafty opponent, even after they stated that they alone knew how to end this terrible affliction known as rock joint, an affliction that Hector himself was suffering from. Regardless of this warning, Hector, in a blood-fueled rage, smashed the Medusa, known as Sarissa, into oblivion, leaving our adventurers up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. They did a quick search of the chamber in which they did battle with Sarissa and found a few interesting articles. They also discovered a few vials of a mysterious bubbling green fluid, as well as a magical wand on Sarissa's person. As Hector and Rilla gathered the petrified remnants of Rugar Firehide and wheeled them up to the surface to get some help from the College of Everspring. Zurabak stayed behind to perform some experiments with this terrible bubbling liquid that he found on Sarissa's person. After getting to the College of Everspring, Hector and Rilla were instructed by Moonbeam, the curator of the Hall of Whispers, that the magic wand that they had found was a wand of break enchantment, a powerful spell that Rilla was able to channel from this old piece of magical equipment that had the power to end petrification. She attempted to use it on Hector, who stubbornly knocked her hand aside so that she might free Rugar of his petrification. When she attempted to use one of the few charges left on this wand to cure Hector of his rock joint, she found that it did not work. It was also discovered by Zurabak through some magical experimentation that various other magical means of ending rock joint did not work, including neutralize poison and cure disease. It would seem that this stubborn and debilitating illness, which turns those afflicted into stone from the inside out, requires a very specific antidote, and that the only person that knew what that antidote was has been splattered into a paste. As our heroes were giving this information to Moonbeam, the curator, she pulled upon her bardic abilities and cast Legend Lore, a spell that allowed her to make contact with Narrativa, the goddess of stories, and pull directly from the ether some knowledge about this potion. She got a glimpse of how it was crafted, what it was made of, and rushed off to the college alchemists to see if they might be able to concoct some sort of antidote. So we'll start with the folks up in the college. You're standing in the Hall of Whispers. Moonbeam has just rushed out of the room to try to find some of the college alchemists to get started on a cure for rock joint. The entirety of Grotmire is at risk, as Whiskers, the former emperor of the rats, had poisoned the town's booze with rock joint in vengeance for his diseased pets. And the threat is an existential one to all of the dwarves of Grotmire and the city of Everspring above. What do you all do?
I lament in the corner of the room.
Hector goes to the corner of the room and shudders with rising horror at the doom that he may have subjected all of the Everspring Mountains to by slaying Sarissa.
Also, just like low key, I am trying to strike like a kind of cool looking lamentation pose for if I go ahead and turn into a statue.
Like you're trying them out?
Yeah.
Always thinking ahead.
So who was it? Was it Pockets that told us about the legend originally?
That is correct. The person that told you about the rock joint sickness originally was Pockets, the leader of the Turnkeys, the engineering guild here in Grotmire.
Okay, I want to talk to Pockets, so I go find them.
Okay. Pockets is fairly easy to find. You are able to locate them actually topside. They are communicating with Captain Kurz, who has also come to topside to the actual town of Everspring on the surface of the mountain to try to organize a vast purging of this firewater that has been tainted. And so above it is much like as it was below last episode. Shopkeeps, tavern owners are rushing to and fro, taking these small casks of very top-shelf liquor and just dashing them in the streets, trying to get rid of their supplies of them so that no one imbibes them. But yeah, you find Pockets and Captain Kurz outside of the Crooked Stool. And, Pocket says, "Oh, by Narrativa's divine light, you're back. What did you find in the mines? Did you find a cure? Is everything going to be all right? Why's your friend still stony? What happened?"
It's not good. But I need your help. You seem to know the story well. When they were researching a cure, how close did they get? Is there anything in the tales about that?
The stories go that they were quite close. The only thing that stopped them from finding the cure was the glyph purge fallen. There was a healer named Thoric. He was chief amongst the dwarves that worked in the mines, and he was working steadfastly to try to find some sort of cure, running tests, collecting information. He had a long flowing beard, longer than anyone else in the entire mine, they said. He was locked in with the rest of them.
Sam,
what's up?
Sorry. This is the person we saw at the desk, yes? That's what I was going to ask, is if his description matches that person at the desk.
Sure does.
Cool. Did he speak common, by chance?
The common tongue's been around for quite a long time, yes.
I just want to make sure this is a dwarf settlement. He very well could have only spoken Dwarven, you know? I might be able to resurrect him. I don't know if that's the right term. He's currently a statue, and I think I might be able to unstatue him. But I want to make sure I get the right person, because I can only do this twice more. So,
I can accompany you to the mines and see
that
if
is exactly what I was going to ask. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll come with you. Is it like bad down there? Do I need to like strap up, or do I need to knock the piss out of some shite, or what?
It's nasty, but we killed the monster that lived down there, so it's gross because Hector smushed her really badly. But there's no threats.
And what monster was that then?
It was a Medusa.
There was a Medusa?
Yep.
Is that
Sure
the cause of all
was.
this?
Oh, yeah. Think so. She had a bunch of poison on her, or however we're phrasing this. The rock joint, she was dumping it in the water, so, you know.
So that's what caused it. Oh, by the gods. Of course. Of course, it all makes sense. Well, we have to go. We have to go right now. Kurz, you'll take care of things up here? Kurz turns his gorgeous half-orc face to all of you and says, "Of course, that's my job. Please, get down there like now, yesterday, please." And you guys take off towards the mine. You notice as you are rushing through the streets of the city of Everspring, now fairly frantic with people dumping out all of the dwarven firewater that they possibly can, that a couple of people here on the surface are screaming while staring at their hands or legs or other appendages. You see a few of the humans here on the streets of the city of Everspring have patches of rocky flesh already starting to appear on their bodies, and they are losing their shit. You see some of the knights from the Order of the Quill, as well as some of the Dwarven City Guard, which seem to have a few of them stationed up here as well, are finding these people and sort of cordoning them off from everyone else, and they are losing their shit. But you all are escorted swiftly down the elevator from topside to Grotmire, down to the mines. You are quickly able to navigate through Whisker's horrific, piss-reeking rat midden, and you crawl back into the mine shaft, mine number 10. Zurabak, you've been fucking around down here in these mines. You've been doing anything specifically?
Besides pushing over dwarves, drawing on fake mustaches and weird eyebrows, not much.
Okay. It is as you are putting a beautiful twirly mustache on one of these dwarves that you hear the footfalls of what can only be your busybody companions scurrying about. They round a corner, and you see that they've returned with pockets in tow.
I skulk back into the shadows and wait.
Okay. Do you want to roll like a hide check?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta pull up my character sheet because I didn't actually think I'd be rolling anything.
Yeah, I didn't think you would either, bud. Are you trying to jump scare them or like what?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We can just let you have that. That's fine. So you skulk into a corner, and your companions close in and pass right by the small hollow that you've been hiding in. What do you do?
I just jump out and bellow my loudest war cry. So it echoes throughout all the caverns.
The caverns?
The caverns.
Hector, Rugar, and Rilla, as you are just barreling through these mines with Patches in tow, you are all treated to the sight of Zurabak launching himself from a hiding spot and screaming bloody murder at the lot of you. What do y'all do?
I ignore him. 'Cause that's
I don't care about you, the dwarf.
Yeah, Hector and Rugar, do you guys react to this at all?
I feel like I pull arms. Like, I feel like Ruger's got an axe in hand and ready to go, you know?
Yeah, Rugar immediately goes to bounty hunter mode and he's like, ambush! He says out loud, ambush!
Yeah.
And pulls out his axes. Hector, what do you do?
Hector looks up sadly and gives Zurabak like a half smile, like, I see that you put effort forward here, and I appreciate it. I just am not emotionally in a place to accept
All right, the
your
high
hard
was
work.
a 20 because I have no dexterity, and the intimidation was a 18.
Okay. You, Pockets jumps a foot in the air and shrieks in absolute terror as your skull-painted face darts out of complete darkness and lurches into the path, screaming a war cry. Pockets is visibly shaken. They jump a foot in the air and say, Christ! Oh, shite! Oh, by the God! What the fuck? Oh, what is wrong with you? Oh, God! Oh. You've taken 5 years of my life with that. Oh, I think my beard's gone grey. Quit fucking around. We've got to go.
Yeah, this place is boring now anyway. I think I've done all the damage I can.
And with that, you all continue navigating down and eventually find yourselves in that broad chamber with a large pond in the middle of it, an array of stalactites hanging from the ceiling, and a ring of petrified dwarves standing all around it. You see, unfortunately, that Sarissa, the Medusa, her body has been not only pulverized by Hector's hammer, but is now turned to stone and, like, sort of floating kind of in the center of the pool, just super hella petrified. But you also see the table you noticed when you first came in here, ringed by a couple of dwarves, one of whom has a long, long flowing beard that traces down underneath the table. Their finger is pointed down, thrust onto the table itself, and there are some ancient remnants of like nearly fossilized paper at this point pinned to the table with his stone finger. As you all see this, Pocket says, "Oh, yeah, that's him. That should be him, Thorik. If the tales are true, his beard was longer than any dwarf with sense would let it get. Yeah, that man should be the healer we're looking for. If anyone knew anything about this sickness, it would be him."
All right, well, let's give this a try. And I attempt to use the wand again.
All right, so Rilla Longshadow, you heft your wand of break enchantment. Now with only 2 charges left in it, you channel your arcane power, the magical force found in your very blood, and channel it through this short length of wood, powerfully enchanted with this spell. And you point, and with a flick of your wrist, the ancient, long-bearded dwarf slowly starts to transition from stone to flesh. The rocky surface of their skin softens. Their beard starts to move in the slight breeze that is passing through this mine, and they blink their steel gray eyes and regard you all with absolute confusion for just a moment before they collapse. Their hand dragging across the desk and spilling ancient bits of paper into the air like confetti. You are now regarding an incredibly wrinkled old dwarf with gray eyes and white hair in fairly simple gray robes. And they're obviously of very advanced years, even for dwarves. And the transitions seem to be a bit too much from them. They kind of fall on their ass and start breathing heavy as this petrification effect ends. What do you all do?
Is he just tired or is he injured?
He is laying on the ground and unresponsive.
Well, I can't heal anybody's.
You could go look, or
I go closer and I say, "Sir, hello, can you hear us?"
I rush to his.
But I stay out of groping range.
I rush to his aid.
What happened? Where am I?
You're in a cave.
Mine.
Mine. Under Grotmire. And it's been like, what, 800 years? I just unstatued you. So hello.
Are my people safe? Did we
No.
did we fix it?
Yes and no.
Yeah, I mean, there are still dwarves living here, but not your buddies.
And the problem that you fell asleep to, you're waking up to, it's spreading across the city again. We need your help.
This old dwarf, Thorik, blinks their eyes and shakes their head, trying to make sense of all the stuff you're saying. And then they look around at the large chamber you're all in. They look at the pool of water. They look at your faces. And then they look at all of the petrified dwarves that are standing around this cave. Nearly, dozens of them, all in various positions. Some of them twisted in horrible masks of pain and fear. And he begins to just weep openly. There wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough time. Oh, we failed. We failed. Oh, I did my best, but it wasn't enough. God, why have you awakened me to this nightmare? Have I not suffered enough? I tried until my bones were stone. I tried and tried. And then the words left. The runes unreadable. And then, blessed darkness, the cries quieted. I thought I had paid for my failure with an eternal sleep, and you wake me to this? I don't know if you're angels or demons.
Demons.
He doesn't speak for us. Ignore him.
Probably a little of both, but sir, I think we can all agree, your story is clearly not over. You have a part to play, friend, and it's time you step back up and take another shot at fixing this.
His face contorts in anger as you say that, and he says, "You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what it was like in here. The words left, and the entrance was sealed. I watched my people die and could do nothing. Tell me again, strangers, how long has my failure and shame lingered here? How long have I been blessedly released into sleep? How long has it been?"
800 years or something like that.
Is the mine still sealed?
No.
Nope.
That's how we're here.
Yeah.
So the dwarves finally admitted what they did and opened up the mine. They finally came down here to fix things?
No.
Nope.
Oh, God.
That's why you're talking to non-dwarfs. They assigned it to us adventurers. Also, your deaths are a painful secret, apparently, or something. Right, Pockets?
Well, there's a lot to unpack for sure. Choices were made. I was not alive back then, so I can't speak to this. This man's been through quite a lot. Why don't we get him on his feet and maybe walk him around a bit, or not just inundate him with horrific information right as he comes back to it, maybe? Shall we get him a cup of tea or something? I don't know.
Cup of tea sounds nice. If you could rustle that up, that'd be great.
Don't touch the water. It got worse.
Oh, God, yeah, okay.
So I ignore Pockets and tell this old dwarf man everything that's happened. And I also tell him that I have one more charge, and if he has an assistant that could help him, tell me which one of his people. I know this is a rough choice and kind of a shitty thing to ask, but who could help the most?
As you inundate him with all of the information that you've gleaned in your entire adventure here, as you give him the story of Rock Joint and Mineshaft number 10, everything he's missed out on in his hundreds and hundreds of years as a fucking statue, his face gets more and more twisted into anger, and eventually he is purple with rage. And he looks up at you and says, "You prattling children, you come into my tomb, the tomb of my people, and you demand that I fix a problem I could not fix hundreds of years ago?
You wave around a magical trinket that awoken me to this hell, and you ask me to choose which one of my people to save? You may as well ask me which of my children to spare from the flames. You do not understand the depths of the pain you have awoken me to. For the sake of all those you claim to wish to save, you will give me time to process, to mourn, to decide if I have it in me to give you the absolution you seek. Get off of me.
And he wrenches out of your grip, Rugar, and he stands up on wobbly old legs. You hear his bones pop and creak as he stands up, and as he gains his feet, he hunches over, his back bent like a question mark. All of the seeming strength and virility he had when he was a statue, jamming his finger onto that table, seems just completely left him, and he shambles a few steps forward, his incredibly long beard trailing between his legs before he loses his balance a bit, and
I move to catch him.
you move to catch him. You do. As you catch him, his head bounces off of your shoulder, which has been completely encased in stone. He grasps you reflexively, his fingers tracing along the stony flesh of your shoulder, and he looks up into your face. And he says,
You're not but a human pup. How old are you, boy?
I'm 25.
Barely a child. You've fallen prey to this sickness?
Yeah.
And you hope I'll fix you. Is that it?
No. I hope you'll fix my failure. You're the only hope we have.
he looks at you for a long moment, and his face sags. He goes completely limp and leans against you, and he starts to weep. Just these long rolling sobs, just kind of peeling out of him, and as he lets out what seems like 800 years of grief. And after a few minutes of this, he sniffles and snorts and pushes himself off of you and stands on his own 2 feet and says,
I will do what I can to end this, as I did before my sleep in the stone.
he looks around and sees the corpse of Sarissa and says,
That creature is the cause of all of this. We never found where she was hiding, but we knew. We knew from all of our work that a Medusa had to be involved. When the mines were sealed, we did whatever we could to try to find a cure with whatever we had on hand. Rock Joint resists nearly all magical effects. The only reason you were able to wake me up is because I suffered under her petrifying gaze. I was one of the last to turn, and she came upon us. Her eyes flashed upon us, and we were encased.
If there are more lives to save, it is my duty to save them, regardless of the cards dealt to me. You want your failure to be fixed, and I suppose I do myself. He looks lovingly at all the petrified remains of his people all around him, and he points to one petrified dwarf standing at the table he was just at. That one. Kex. Bring Kex back. Kex was the greatest alchemist of our time, a master of our traditional herbal remedies and a dabbler in more exotic fare. If anyone is going to help me fix this, it will be Kex. Bring them back, and then we'll get to work.
Okay, and I do that.
Yeah, you channel the magic flowing through your veins again through this wand and wave it at another dwarf.
And I know that wasn't the most diplomatic, but I'm trying to go with Rilla is quick to talk because she's a teenager and it's not always the best. So
Oh, for sure. No, yeah, that was great.
Okay.
That all went very good. Pissed at you. Hector brought the sweetness. It's all good stuff.
I could feel Ruger sigh when I just started talking a bunch.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I believably represented the fucking trauma of everything this dude's been through. So, but no,
I totally get it. I'm just trying to act like a teenager.
There you go.
Limited empathy runs her mouth.
So, you channel the magic flowing through your veins into this wand of break enchantment, and using its last charge, you free up Thoric's old assistant, Kex, the great alchemist. A much younger dwarf with flowing blonde hair, a much shorter clipped beard, and a massive backpack. Full, just lined even on the outside with bottles and pouches and poultices. Snaps awake, also collapses, and starts to freak the fuck out. And after a few minutes of additional sobbing from Kex this time, Thoric stands up a bit taller than he did before and says, "We need access to whatever chemical agent was used to poison this water and the finest alchemical lab you have. And we need that now."
Zurabak, you still have any of those vials?
Maybe.
Now is not maybe time, buddy.
Definitely not, Zurabak.
Well, it reacts quickly to the water.
Okay, so that's at least one down. Do you have any left?
I might have drank it.
No, you didn't. Did you? You didn't. Zurabak, you didn't drink the poison water, did you?
Almost did.
Glad. Okay, so then, Zurabak, where's the vial?
Oh, right here.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
What were we talking about? Vials, right. Zurabak coughs up the vial, and you guys head to... Where do you guys head to?
I'm going to follow Pockets on this one, because I don't know where the best alchemical areas are of the city we've been in for 2 days.
The best collection of alchemical bric-a-brac is going to be at the College of Everspring. Let's go back to topside and get this all figured out as quick as we can. And yeah, you guys start hoofing it back. Hector, bud.
Yeah, I've already marked this mine as my own.
You peed on it?
You guys travel through the mine, and the moods of Thoric and Kex darken considerably at every petrified remain that they pass by, and there's tears rimming their eyes when you guys eventually get to the exit and they have to shimmy out into Whisker's midden. Thoric makes a passing comment about how it took a swarm of rats tunneling in for anyone to give a shit about him and his miners.
Also a crazy man put one of the rats in the alcohol.
Yeah.
So, that's where they're real caring about.
Yeah. It's,
Of course.
spreading pretty rapidly through the city. Mainly in the booze, so you can imagine.
Well, then time is of the essence. And you all make pretty good time getting back topside to the College of Everspring. The streets of Everspring are still pretty chaotic. A bunch of people trying to dump all the booze out that they can. The Knights of the Order of the Quill have cordoned like 36 human residents of Topside off to some like unused feast hall, and they're kind of like marching these people in to separate them out from the general public. The people look scared, and many of them are just outright crying. You see a woman carrying their infant son, and the woman, like, half of her neck is stone, and she's just sobbing as she's walking into this building led by a line of knights. As you guys get to the entrance to the College of Everspring, Captain Kurz is outside barking orders to some of his knights and says, "Okay, so things are very, very bad. We're trying to separate out the people we know have come down with rock joints so they don't spread it, but it's very bad. It's popping up all over the place. Apparently it moves way faster in humans than it does in dwarves. Not sure what's going on with that, but we definitely need to get this handled. Who are these two? What's the story?"
Zurabak continues on to the kitchen.
Yep, Zurabak just walks on past. Thoric speaks for himself in this. "I am Thoric Silverbeard, Master Healer, Foreman of Mineshaft number 10. My assistant, Kex, and I are going to bring you your deliverance if you stop asking questions and show us to your alchemical lab immediately." Kurz is taken aback, but Pockets gives a curt nod behind Thoric's head, and Kurz says, "Absolutely, let's go!" And opens the door and marches into the college proper. You all follow Kurz through a twisting series of hallways, past many classrooms and lounge areas, until eventually you are brought to a stone door at the end of a short hallway that reeks of sulfur, and there's a bit of smoke curling underneath the door. He knocks loudly on it, and the door is abruptly thrown open on hinges that you can't quite see. And you see Moonbeam's face spattered with smoke and soot, her dress covered in some strange grime, and behind her you see rows and rows and rows of tables covered with some of the most delicate and complicated glass alchemical apparatus you've ever seen. There's fluids of all different colors and viscosities dripping, boiling, and bubbling in every corner of this room, and a staff of a dozen humans, gnomes, halflings are running around frantically, jabbering at each other as small explosions go off in one corner as a plume of purple smoke goes off in the next, and Moonbeam says, "Okay, so still having a bit of a problem day. We've gotten some of the chemical that you provided us to some of our alchemists, and they're trying to figure it out as quick as they can, but they're missing some very important information." As she says this, Thoric and Kex just like shove past her into the room and start barking orders at all of the alchemists running around in this workshop. Thoric turns around and says, "Unless any of you have any specialty when it comes to the alchemical arts," and he raises an eyebrow questioningly for any of you to answer.
Zurabak's already left.
Right. He's not talking to you.
No.
Definitely not.
Then you'll be more of a hindrance than a help. Stay out and let us do our work. And he slams the door in your faces.
Before I leave, I quickly turn to Thoric and just say, a key ingredient in her poison is the venom from the snakes. I don't know if this will be any help, but here's some raw venom, and I hold out my beard snakes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you took some of the beard snakes and the eyeball from Sarissa, right? After you slew
Yes.
her? Okay, yeah. So you cough up these alchemical ingredients, and Thoric's eyes brighten with what could almost be excitement at like a challenge. And he greedily grabs them from you, and then slams the stone door to the alchemical labs of the college in your faces. You hear his whispery grumbling on the other side of the door, and yeah, you're left in the hallway. Captain Kurz says, "Well, that's, I guess, now we wait? Yeah. I don't like waiting. That's not really my bag.
Well, what'd you have in mind, Kurz? Because I, for one, feel like it's been a long fucking day, and I was a statue for a good part of it.
Yeah, what did that feel like?
I gotta go with Thoric on this one a little bit. It's very peaceful, black business. I'm not sure. I blacked out there for a while. So, I'm still, I think, dealing with what exactly happened to me.
Captain Kurz says, well, I have to go back out and try to help bring whatever relief I can. I need to go help separate out the infected, and you all stay here and keep your friend in good spirits, I guess. Bye. And Kurz thunders out of the hallway to go tend to his duties in the city. So you three are left in this hallway outside the alchemical lab. Hector, you look down, and your pectoral muscle on your left-hand side, your shoulder, and now crawling all the way down to your bicep, is now completely covered in stone. You no longer have any articulation of your shoulder. It is now a solid block of stone with a fleshy bit of arm at the end and your torso at the other end. It is still spreading.
I take note of Hector taking note of his own spreading disease. And I say, "Hey, Hector, you, hungry?
No, not really.
Care for a drink then?"
We shouldn't drink anything. I mean, Hector, no, he shouldn't either, honestly.
I mean, I have my own flask. I wasn't necessarily saying, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have half a bottle of rot gut that we acquired before we ever got here.
Oh, how about this, friend? can I interest you in a riveting game, Jenga?
In my homeland, we call it Jumbling Towers.
That is a worse name.
I mean,
Please tell me you guys sit down and fucking play Jenga while you're waiting for this antidote to get made. Please tell me that.
well,
I
I put the gyroscope on Hector's head for fun. It's whimsical, right?
Hector, do you cheer up at all? Because I want to start kind of making some light jokes. Like, Hector, worst case, you permanently turn into a statue. Like, where do you want us to put you? Is there anywhere we could display you, Fred?
Just bring me back to my family. They know exactly where to put me.
Shit. Well, that's... Yeah, I should have known you were going to say that. That's pretty far away.
Would you want to pose for, like, artistic value or purpose? Like, do you want to be a coat rack? Or do you want to be, like... Do you want to hold a plate? Like, what's your goal?
If you're outside, birds are going to poop on you. So...
That is true.
So, if it were me... And it was earlier. I would do it indoors.
I will take all of this into consideration for when I turn into an unfixably unmoving statue.
If, not when. Be positive.
And at that exact moment, I pull the wrong Jenga piece and the tower tumbles.
It is just as the Jenga tower tumbles that you're all playing while sitting in the floor of the hallway out front of the alchemy lab, because that's the picture I've painted in my head. You're just all cross-legged playing Jenga while giving Hector shit. It is just as the jumbling towers fall that the door to the alchemy lab flies open. You guys have been sitting out here for about an hour or two trying to cheer up Hector, whose entire arm now is entirely stone. And the door to the alchemy lab flies open, and Thoric says, "Hector, get in here now. The rest of you stay out."
I struggle a bit to my feet because I'm used to using two hands to stand up. And it's just really awkward, the balance shift. Because I'm heavier on the opposite side now as well.
Yeah, and it should be said that this isn't a pleasant feeling. Like, your arm is completely numb. You have no feeling in your arm. But the joint, like the place where your flesh transitions into stone, fucking hurts like shit. It's not comfortable. There's like a horrible, like tearing feeling. It is not pleasant at all. It's like someone pressed a stone into you and your body's trying to move around it. It's very bad.
And quickly go in.
The door slams shut behind you, and you see the flurry of activity that you had just peeked at a couple hours ago when you first got here. Alchemists are running to and fro, combining different colored liquids in various beakers and putting them over open flames to bubble and simmer, some of them running over the sides of their glasses. Thoric looks you up and down and says, "You, boy, are to be commended. If it weren't for your heart and your youth, the life you still have ahead of you, I may not have been able to find the will to try to finish my work. After so long, after so much loss, I didn't see much of a point in it, but your selflessness, that's something worth saving. It should also be mentioned that the components that you're able to provide, these serpents with their venom, these this eyeball were the missing pieces to a puzzle I had nearly unlocked more than 800 years ago. Most of the work was done by me quite a while back, but you, boy, are instrumental in what may be a cure for the most terrible affliction to ever assail the dwarven people. He holds up a vial of liquid. It is a purple so loud you can hear it, and it bubbles slightly, like it's carbonated, in the vial he holds out to you. This is a first attempt at a reagent that will hopefully purge your body of rock joint. Rock joint is a strange blend of disease and curse and magic. It is unpredictable, tenacious. This may fix you. It may accelerate your condition to the point that you are turned to stone immediately. I do not wish to test this on the common rabble, but you seem to have, well, the heart of a hero. Will you take it upon yourself to test this cure, knowing the risks?
I take the vial from his hand.
All right then. Bottoms up.
I struggle to remove the cork from the vial because I don't have a second hand. Eventually I use my teeth. And then I drink.
You chug this incredibly purple liquid. It flows down your throat, and it burns. It burns like nothing you've ever felt before. It's like you're drinking liquid fire. It hits your gut with the force of a Zurabak punch. It is not a pleasant experience, and you feel this heat radiate through your entire body almost instantly, suffusing your every tissue, and to your horror, you see that the stone covering your pectoral muscle leaps forward over the rest of your chest, up the side of your neck. It travels along your stomach and along your back, rapidly growing over what was once tender flesh until your entire world is swallowed up in blackness as your eyes turn to stone. You float there in the blackness for some time, not sure if you're awake or asleep. No dreams, just the bare hint of awareness. And then a moment later, you hear the loudest cracking sound you've ever heard. It's like your bones are shattering. But you realize quickly that it's stone. The stone on your skin. You shift and struggle and twist, and the stone covering you like the shell of an egg shatters and crumbles off of you, revealing healthy, Hector-colored skin underneath. Your arm is perfectly fine, able to articulate normally, and you shake your head as bits and flecks of stone tumble out of your hair. You blink and you see that you are fully restored to flesh. There is a pile of stone chips mounded around your legs, but you, Hector the Gatekeeper, have been restored.
It works.
It seems so. It looks like I have a lot of work to do.
I get down on one knee, kind of get to Thoric's eye level.
Mm-hmm.
and bow my head. You have saved this city.
One could argue that you may have had something to do with it, boy. But your deference is well placed. Go. You're a distraction, and there's much work left to do. And he winks at you.
I smile and leave.
Cool. You walk out, and the door is slammed shut vigorously behind you, and Rilla and Rugar, you see Hector, hale and whole, his arm completely flesh once more. There doesn't seem to be a bit of rock anywhere on him.
Well, I'll be. They fixed you, eh?
That man is brilliant.
Took them like 3 hours to solve the crisis. I would say brilliant is apropos.
Mm-hmm. So you gotta tell me, what was your pose going to be? Come on.
I pull a Jenga piece and the fucking tower falls. Because me and Rilla were definitely still playing Jenga.
As
This
you
is
all
getting pathetic.
I'm not good at this game.
I play it by myself for hours every single day. While you all sleep or whatever.
And you're calling me pathetic. Okay, alright.
Would you prefer if I just stare at your sleeping face? Because I can do that tonight.
Hector, as you listen to the very comforting banter of your two friends over this Jenga tower, you take a moment to kind of give yourself a once over. You flex your muscles, you twist around, crack your back and your knuckles. Everything seems good inside or outside, but there is a strange, barely perceptible, but a strange tightness in your chest. Where the stone was when it first arrived. It's nothing traumatic. It's nothing that's going to keep you from adventuring, but it is there. A strange, lingering tightness in your chest. Some lasting remnant of the horrible affliction that you were recently cured of. You are going to now and for the rest of our little campaign here take -1 to all saving throws, having survived Rock Joint and been scarred forever by its impact.
Ooh. Brutal.
Congratulations, Hector the Gatekeeper. Your card has shown itself, and you came out the other side alive.
I clutch my chest where I feel the tightness and listen to my friends bicker and quietly sidle off away from them. I wander off to the Hall of Whispers. And I just go back to going around and just spending time by myself, touching artifacts and learning their stories.
All right. So as Zurabak sits in the cafeteria of the college, now empty due to this horrible emergency afflicting the city, and gorges himself on pilfered food as Rugar and Rilla bicker over a game of Jenga played in the hallway outside of this alchemist lab, and as Hector goes back to the Hall of Whispers and wanders amongst its various treasures and artifacts. We're going to go into a little cutscene. Hours later, as the tensions in the city of Everspring and the dwarven hold of Grotmire reach a bit of a crescendo as more and more people are rounded up with patches of stone blooming on their skin like lesions and are corralled into various buildings to be separated from the general population. The door to the alchemy lab flies open again, and a small army of alchemists runs out, all of them holding massive handfuls of purple vials of this riotously purple liquid. They charge out the doors, stream out of the entrance to the college proper, and shove these vials into the hands of Captain Kurz and his attending Knights of the Order of the Quill, who swiftly disperse them throughout the city. These vials of purple liquid are placed into the hands and drained into the mouths of every person afflicted with rock joint and many nervous citizens who think they may have just been in danger of contracting it. They filter down to the dwarven hold as well. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these potions are distributed, and after a very terrifying night, the moon rises in the sky over a now relatively peaceful Everspring Mountains. The city of Everspring has quieted. Folks are picking up bits of cask and bits of shattered casks and flagons out of the streets, sweeping the remnants of this tainted liquor into the sewers, and the same goes for the dwarves in Grotmire. And as Thoric's miraculous cure for rock joint is distributed through the town, and this particular terrifying existential threat to the settled lands of the Everspring Mountains has subsided, you end your first day in the sprawling metropolis of Everspring. And that is where we'll end. Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our player characters' psychology, their motivation, their characterization, and try to get a better understanding of them as people. In this part of the show, we usually ask each of our player characters the same question, but this time we're going to do things a little differently. We are going to pose a question to just one of our protagonists and see if we can't get a little deeper than we normally do with their answer. So, today we have one and only one guest here in the studio, Hector the Gatekeeper, Keeper of the Gates. Hector, it's a pleasure to see you. How are you today?
I'm uncomfortable with this situation. Where's the others?
Well, Hector, the first thing I want to say is you're definitely not in trouble, so put that thought right out of your mind. You are... We have a question that pertains specifically to you, and I feel like this has potentially quite a big answer. I don't want to forecast anything, but I really wanted to get to the bottom of this particular question. And it might take a little longer than normal, and it really only pertains to you. You're getting the spotlight, not sharing it with anyone.
Okay.
So, the question today is, Hector the Gatekeeper, how often do you lose your temper? To expand on that a little bit, you are a barbarian. You are a brave and powerful warrior, but your power comes from your rage. You are able to place yourself into a state of furious anger that makes you stronger, that makes you hardier, able to shake off blows that would kill a normal man, able to move incredible weights. You've moved entire wagons on your own on more than one occasion, thanks to barbarian rage. You've dispatched powerful enemies. You've also, fairly recently, killed an enemy who had the secret to saving your own life. In a barbarian fury, you slew the Medusa Sarissa right after she informed you that she had the cure to Rockjoint, the cursed illness that was afflicting your very person. You destroy them anyway, instead of trying to draw out any cure they might have, any solution to your problem. I'm curious, do you find that though you draw power from your rage, do you lose your temper often? Do you find that you lose control?
My very fighting style involves giving up control. I lose my temper every day. I see these horrific happenings throughout the entire realm, and I try and maintain my chipper nature, but it's gotta go somewhere. When I rage, that's me releasing everything I hold inside.
So when you face an enemy in combat and you dig into that well of rage inside of you, you are letting out your frustration and anger at the injustice, the cruelty, the disparity that you see in the world around you?
Yes.
Does it ever frighten you to give up control like that? To give in to this seething rage? And is this rage constantly present? I suppose those are two different questions, but I'm very fascinated.
I never thought about it much. Until recently. Yes, the anger is a part of me. So there is a part of it that is always still there, that I keep hidden behind, let's say, a gate.
But it would seem that this gate, while normally well kept, is regularly breached by your anger. In particular, when it came to Sarissa, you swung and dispatched the foe in front of you fully under the sway of your rage, even knowing that they held the answer to the very problem you went into that mine to solve. I'm curious what was or wasn't going through your head at that point, and if you feel like there's a risk of you working against your best interests due to your anger in the future.
All I saw was the card. As for the future, I can't let something like that happen again.
Well, Hector, this has been a fascinating look into your psychology. I certainly appreciate your honesty with us here, and I'm sure our listeners do as well. It is always easy to look at a person with a sunny disposition and a friendly smile and see them as a bit two-dimensional, not realizing that underneath the surface could lie a snarling beast just waiting to be released, and all the damage that goes with that. Sort of a Jekyll and Hyde scenario. Well, Hector, I'm very curious to see how you channel your rage in the future and where that will lead you. But for now, I think we've gone far enough with this topic. Thank you very much for taking the time to sit with us today. I know we kind of put you under the microscope, but it's always such a pleasure to have these conversations with you. Is there any last words you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I'm still uncomfortable. I miss. Where do you put them? Where do you put them when they're not on the show?
Sharon has a closet or cupboard somewhere. I'm not exactly sure how that all works. Sharon, where do you keep the where? That's weird. I got a nosebleed.
Is it time to go back to the closet?
Yeah, that's gonna do us for us here at As the Dice Turns. Oh, the podcast.
Is it time to go back to the closet?
I think so. Thank you for listening. Sharon and I really appreciate you listening, and until the next time, listeners, just keep those dice rolling.
Is it time to go back to the closet?
Hey there, dear listeners. Sam, the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. As usual, music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by the dreaded harp wolf, Danielle Taylor-Williams. You can find more of her beautiful work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. She has an album out called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? You should check it out. It's a real banger. Additional music for Challenge Rating 0 is provided by Justin Ra. You should check out his website, justinra.com, to see when and where he is playing around town, and also check out his album, Age of the Spirit. We have a very important announcement right now. We have officially launched our Patreon. If you go to patreon.com and search Challenge Rating 0, you can find ways to support the show. We've been absolutely floored by the response to the show, by the listenership we've garnered. It means the world to us that anyone at all is listening, and certainly in the numbers that people seem to be listening. We appreciate every single one of you. If you would like to support the show here, you can go to patreon.com, search Challenge Rating 0, and find ways to help us out. Become a patron. Get yourself in on the ground floor. We've got bonus content galore, including a private Discord channel where you can chat with the cast of the show. We've got bonus episodes that are going to be coming out once a month, and we've also got downloads for the soundtrack for the show. We're going to be putting out one track every month from the show's actual soundtrack that you can have for your very own. So if you got a couple spare bucks, if you have enjoyed the work that we've put out so far, I ask that you consider donating to our Patreon. You will be getting monthly extra content, and you will get the peace of mind of knowing that you are helping us make the best possible show we can. Any money we get is going to go back into the show to buy better microphones, better computers, better equipment, so that we can keep making the best possible show we can. And we certainly appreciate any support. If you don't have a couple bucks to spare, then I would humbly ask that maybe you download some episodes of the show instead of maybe just streaming it. If you haven't done that, downloads really help out our numbers and make us look just a lot more impressive. Or maybe just tell a friend about the show. If you've enjoyed the tale we've told so far, reach out to a buddy. Tell them that you're into this weird indie D&D podcast that's way too meta sometimes, and that you think they should check it out. Shoot them a link to our Spotify or, whatever. We get by on your generosity and word of mouth. So if you would like to support us, there are now several ways to do that. Additional things, if you would like to submit a question to As the Dice Turns and hold our protagonist's feet to the fire with a question you've been dying to have them answer, you can hit us up on Twitter at challenge_0, or you can email us at challengerating0@gmail.com. Any questions we receive will be read on the air. I believe that's all we've got. Thank you so much for listening. It is an absolute joy to make this show, and it is even more joyful knowing that people out there actually give a shit. So Thank you very much. It's incredibly gratifying, and we will keep putting this out as long as we possibly can. Until next time, dear listeners, be good to each other out there. Bye.